neurodiversity, on the other hand, and many of the queer youth also face these challenges, is an umbrella term where brains are wired differently, such as ADHD, you have dyspraxia, which means you would have been considered clumsy 50 years ago, or even called worse terms. Dyslexia, dyscalculia play into that, Tourette's and autism. And roughly 20% of all the global population is having these typical impairment. If you navigate the world on the other operating system, you are Mac and the world is operating on Windows, you will have problems. If you have both, if you suffer from both, it makes you twice the risk, makes you also twice more easily harmed.
In terms of the language, I notice even the Trevor Project's website is very well written. I think their UX writing is very supportive and welcoming. And can you talk a little bit about UX writing just in general, but then maybe in a neurodiversity context, and maybe you can define neurodiversity at the same time?
I am getting chills down my spine in the most positive way that you found this, because when I was a young person struggling with helping my queer and maybe otherized friends, I would have loved an escape key for their hostile environments where they might be. And the US is a much more volatile place than Europe is in regards to that. You are easily coughed up by the system and you land in a home or where you are also subject of bullying. And this is where the intersection between also neurodiversity, as you mentioned, why don't we look at it so closely? Because it's really hard, and because psychology and medical fields do their best to even unwrap this. So when we were preparing this workshop together and we spoke about the different chapters we want to look at and we want to also shine a light on, the part that you were just mentioning, that it's not so much out in the open, is that first, it is underdiagnosed. Second, it's misdiagnosed. And then it's also sometimes not even something that is to your own awareness. We as content people with words and working at a focus, handling this, the key to all interfaces when we start out is words. We greet the user, and just recently the Apple WCC something presentation came across where two UX writers of Apple present how apps would look like without copy. We all know that, how it would look like without copy. It would be a desert and you wouldn't know where to navigate to. But also the font, is the line spacing great? Is the character spacing great so that I can see what you are trying to say to me if you're Apple and you want to communicate with me? And this is also where we have the different dimensions of vocabulary, terminology, and also information architecture and infrastructure of websites and digital content. So a context. So do you have in wall of text, or is your content a lot to click through? Do you really need all of those screens, or do you just follow the lead of the UI design team, maybe because the visuals need to pop and need to be banging and the color needs to be this and that?
I think it kind of comes back to what we were saying in the beginning of supporting stress cases, but from this perspective, some very specific. It's almost like a really good way to begin to do inclusive design. It's these are what we call the invisible disabilities. Okay, so we'll talk more about this on the UX writing workshop. Katrina, it was nice to catch up with you, and thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Always a pleasure. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it too, and see many people around so we can rally up some donations for the Trevor Project. I'm looking forward to it.